Enjoy world-class radio online. ZiFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZiFM Stereo and you got it. It's ZiFM Stereo Talk.
Can we begin by looking at Zimbabwe's debt clearance plan?
We have since cleared our arrears to the IMF, and right now, clearance of arrears to the African Development Bank and the World Bank is underway. It's work in progress. And I'm confident that we should be able to reach an understanding this year.
The talk that gets you talking. Mondays to Thursdays between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. News, lifestyle, charts, live radio, station highlights, and much more. Get it all on zfmstereo.co.zw.
The platform. Step up and speak out.
You tune into ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town. The name is Larry Kwirirayi, and it is the platform, and just a delay back by about 15 minutes because we just had that presentation from the President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who is in Davos, Switzerland at the moment at the World Economic Forum. Today we're talking about something he said on that program will possibly shape the discussion that we're having today. But of course, we got three key leaders of the opposition party to come and tell us about what their plans are for the elections this year. And that's what we're talking about today. But just to remind you of the frequencies you can listen to us on: Chivu 99.8, Cholocho 97.9, Kama TV Wange 105.1, Mutora Shanga 97.6, Gweru 104.3, Kadoma 105.2, Mutare 95.4, Bulawayo, my hometown, 106.7, and we're broadcasting out of Harare, where our frequency is 106.4. Over the internet, it's www.zfmstereo.co.zw, and then also you can listen to us via the TuneIn app. And the TuneIn app, they just download it off your favorite app store, and you can listen to us live on there. And also you can follow the conversation on Twitter at ZiFM Stereo, on Facebook, facebook.com/ZiFM Stereo. Now, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has said the country will hold elections before July this year, and he will only be able to proclaim the election date after February 12th, which is 19 days from now. The country has over 20 registered opposition political parties, all eager to remove ZANU-PF from power. Now, in the studio tonight, I have three key leaders from opposition parties. From the MDCT, the Acting President, Engineer Elias Mudzuri, and then from the Coalition of Democrats, leader Elton Mangoma, and then from the Alliance for People's Agenda, for the first time on ZiFM Stereo, the President, Dr. Nkosana Moyo. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming into the studio.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to your listeners.
Okay,
thank you, Larry, and thank you, listeners.
Thank you, Zimbabwe. Thank you, Larry.
I'm going to start with you, Engineer Mudzuri. The question that I want to ask you about is, I think a key question that everybody wants to know, like an update on how Dr. Morgan Tsvangirai is feeling at the moment.
What I know is he's recovering fairly well. I mean, he's in South Africa, and I don't have all the finer details, but he's recovering.
Okay, and of course, based on that question, some people say the MDC Alliance, he's the standing MDC Alliance candidate at the moment. Confirming that?
He is.
Okay, as the standing, is he fit, even after he recovers, to stand for contest as the presidential candidate at the moment?
It's not about fitness. It's about how he has been proclaimed the presidential candidate by the Alliance and the MDCT as a party. He's in a condition where if he finds it impossible, he has to tell us what condition he is. As far as we are concerned, that a condition he is could be with any one of us. And he could be well in a month's time or in 2 months' time, and he could still go for elections. But in his absence, with able-bodied people, we are working and we are going to show that the MDC is ready to carry him on and make sure that we win the elections in 2018 this year.
So, I mean, before I go on to everybody else, I see you say something key there. You're saying, is it up to him to say if he cannot carry on, or are you saying that it is a Congress issue? What is the story?
No, we have declared him the candidate, and it's him who deals with his doctors, who can tell him what to say, if he feels that the doctors will advise him if he can be fit or not. But as far as we are concerned, you can be fit and be dead. We've just had an MP who died in his sofa. It could happen to anyone. So until and unless his doctors tell him otherwise and he advises us, he's our candidate. And we are working for MDC and the Alliance to ensure that we win the 2018 election with his candidature. So if he's disposed by any means, we still have able-bodied people.
Okay, the number to get in touch with us with all your questions is 0731 168 That's our WhatsApp number. And our call-in number is 0772 168 Coming to you, I've got some follow-up questions based on what you said earlier, but I'll ask them a little bit later, Engineer. But coming to you, why is code, there are many questions that people ask, why is code not part of the NDC Alliance? That question keeps coming up, and there's a question that actually came up on Twitter today.
Thank you for that question. I think one has got to be able to understand how first CODE was formed, and secondly, how the MDC Alliance was formed. The CODE was the first coalition to be in place, and then MDCT did not want to be part of the coalition. They clearly indicated that they would choose who they want to work with, and then they proceeded to choose those they wanted to work with, and left out those they didn't want to work with. And therefore, the way they also did their seat allocation and everything else was such that their room was full. And therefore, there is no room for anyone else. And therefore, the MDC Alliance is very much an exclusive club, whereas CODE has been an inclusive club.
Okay, I think that's something. I'll give you an opportunity to respond. I know, Engineer Mudzuri, when you talk about it being an exclusive club,
yes,
just give us an example, because I want to understand what you mean by that.
What happened is that MDCT chose the partners they wanted, and they chose to work with PDP, with MDC led by Welshman Ngube, with Transform Zimbabwe, and with Zimbabwe People First. So these were the people who they allocated seats to each other and constituencies. And indeed, we were actually talking together in Zinera, and we had a conference in Masvingo where they were very clear that they will not go into a multilateral with anybody, that they would want to be the ones who choose who they want, i.e. the big brother mentality came up, and certainly is something that for us, we are tired of big brothers.
And then, Dr. Moyo, the question you've asked, something you've often said repeatedly is you're against coalitions. Before we go, I get these gentlemen to fight it out in this issue. Why are you against? Because I got that reaction from the engineer over here that he's got something he's itching to say. But why is it that you're against the idea of coalitions? Or are you still against it?
Because I think coalitions don't make any sense. Coalitions before any election do not make sense. Because if I wanted to work with another party, I should just have joined that party. Why did I start a new party? I started a different party because we fundamentally believe in different things. But in the event that the electorate does not make a decisive choice and give a mandate to somebody to say, go run the affairs of this nation in the next period, then those circumstances, as you can see what happens globally, force you to go and talk to other people and try and find common ground. But before the election, I think you need to have clarity on what you stand for. If we didn't have that clarity, we would have simply not formed a party and gone and joined somebody else.
So then my follow-up question on that is, would you join a ZANU-PF government if they won an election and they said, okay, we want to talk to you?
we would consider it. I don't think that's a question I would answer hypothetically. I think it would depend on what you said, if they won the election. So if they won, why would they want to confuse issues? They won on the basis of a program they proposed to the electorate. And if they are chosen on the basis of that program, they should just go ahead and govern. Why would you want a coalition? You form a coalition because the results are not decisive. Then you are forced to go talk to somebody and see whether you can find common ground.
Okay, so let's give that example where I know you answered it in a particular, but I want a solid answer. If those conditions that you talk about were to be there existent, they haven't won outright, whatever the case it is, and they say to you, okay, can we work together? You say that is something you would consider.
Then we'd have to have a conversation, absolutely. Because the conversation itself then will result in a certain understanding of what the compromise policies are going to be. It would have to be something between what we believe in and what they believe in, not the pure presentation of either. But there will be some red lines on what we stand for, and I would imagine that there would be some red lines on what they stand for. And the challenge then is, can you really find a working relationship given that kind of scenario?
0731168045. Tisha B from Bonda Mission says the MDC should have a roadmap for the 2018 harmonized election other than fighting for the position of the presidency. And on the back of that question, Engineer Mudzuri, there have been reports coming out that say that Dr. Nkosana Kupe was one of the vice presidents in the party, suggesting that she's been expelled for being against the alliance. What's your comment on that?
No one has been expelled, and Dr. Kupe has not been against the alliance. She just didn't agree with a few areas in the agreement, and she's still there. The alliance was a council resolution to say we want to have a big tent and bring in everyone who wants to work with MDCT, being the biggest opposition party existing. You don't need to question that. The biggest party with the biggest number of MPs in government. So which areas did she not agree with, and have they been ironed out? No, she go and ask her. She will tell you that she's not in disagreement with the alliance. No, you say there were some issues that she disagreed with. What were those issues that she disagreed with? We have already discussed them, and she's with us. No, I mean, if I'm an electorate, somebody who wants to... It was about a few seats in Mat South and Matawelland, so that has been ironed out. Okay, so the issues around this seats have been ironed out. We're going to come back to that in a little bit, but you have been accused in studio here by Mr. Mangoma here of being a party that excludes everybody, or this alliance of being about exclusion. What do you say about that? In actual fact, MDCT is not selfish. It has invited everybody to the big tent. The big tent is where everybody can contribute from their strength and come in and work with the MDCT. You know that even in the United Nations, people are not equal. But we accept that there are other big powers which actually veto. But we are not vetoing anyone. We are in agreement that you must come with your contribution is to this alliance must come pre-election time. So you must be able to show what you are bringing on the table. Otherwise, we have 100 and something parties. You said more than 20. Everyone will come with his wife and say, I want to be part of the alliance. So we are inviting everybody with something to offer, and you must be able to work with us with your capacity. For instance, our first offer was to people first, because we are looking at Mashonalands. We also offered everyone else to say, you can come in. Before the agreement was made, we were looking for partners where we are weak, where they are strong, so that you make a reasonable alliance. An alliance is not about drinking tea. This is a political platform. It's not just getting seats. It's what you come with to the alliance. So those who have been willing, not about big brother mentality. I'm saying we are big in the sense that we are already known as a big opposition party. We become equal in terms of our contributions, depending on what you can play. So we invited Code. Mangoma had beaten Code. He's with us. So that alliance is not there anymore in court. So if she says he was the first, he could also have come to MDCT, and we still are open to invite others who want to work with us. We are open so that you bring what you want to offer to the big opposition arrangement.
Mr. Mangoma?
Well, you can hear clearly he's talking about Big Brother. They are the ones who assess everyone else. No one assesses them. And clearly for us, there is proving
we
it.
assess each other.
No, you have already indicated that you have assessed. In fact, when they approached PDP and MDC, they were actually trying to destroy CORD, not necessarily to actually bring everyone on board. They were trying to destroy CORD because CORD had told them very clearly, we have got to make a difference and a different path from the one that has destroyed this country led by ZANU-PF. We needed to be able to deal with executive powers, and they didn't want, up to now, they still don't want to have the executive powers tampered with. We know. We have in court said we will work with anyone, but not to create another dictator, because the dictators are given that power by the constitution, which has given so much power to the president. And for us, we have got to remove that power that is abused by the presidents and put it aside so that people can enjoy freedom in this country, so that we are not running from one dictator to another dictator. And personally, having been in there, I know the dictatorial tendencies of my colleagues, and they are very strong.
Okay, I want to ask you a follow-up question, because this is coming on from a listener, 0731 168 and of course our call number is already open on 0772 168 Let's talk about whether the environment is ready and conducive for elections, but of course we've gotten into a nice little cove here about issues around coalitions. Mr. Mangoma, if I remember very well, you once said, Mr. Mangoma, if I remember very well, you said once that you will never work with Tsvangirai, and why is he making noise that he has been left out now? Secondly, Mr. Mangoma should know that the parties are not equal. How many supporters does he have? He must be real. That's a question.
Well, firstly, he is lying, because there was no point I ever said I would not work with anyone. I'm actually on record even as of 23rd of November. I wrote to President Tsvangirai to say, why not put up a team so that we start working together as opposition? So someone who says that is completely listening to the fabrications that go out. I've never said that. And as CORD is concerned, we have said we don't want to necessarily deal with personalities. Let's deal with issues so that people can come and go, but the issues that resolve the problems of this country are put on the table so that we can all live in a prosperous country.
Okay, I want to ask this as a follow-up.
Yes.
On March the 20th, you said you had no problem, 2014, you said you had no problem working with Mr. Tsvangirai. Yeah. And on a little bit later after that, we're talking about September 2014, you are on record and say that you will never reconcile with, quote unquote, the coward Tsvangirai. This is something there's a recorded video.
That's not correct. So if you have got a recording of it, please play it, because I remember everything I say, and I've never gone on anyone at a personal level. This is not my father's country alone. This country belongs to all of us. And therefore, it is not for me to say, I will not work with this one, I will not work with this one, because they are equal citizens of this country. We believe that all citizens are equal. There is no entitlement for anyone which is better than the other. And therefore, anybody can become president in this country. Anybody can work with anyone they like, because that is what it is. But we will not, and I put it, we will not create another dictator, because that is what has destroyed this country. And let's deal with the presidential powers, and then anybody can become a president.
Okay.
I just want to correct something. Mr. Mangoma on one side says dictatorial tendencies. Everyone in Zimbabwe knows that President Moyo and Tsvangirai is the brand of is the face of the opposition. Up to today, you know that he's the man who has carried the whole yoke of suffering Zimbabweans, representing the downtrodden. And when we say we are coming to the big tent, the alliance is talking about one presidential candidate. And the other parties remain with their identities. We are not swallowing them. And that alliance is not taking away your level of opposition. So he is contradicting himself by saying
I'm not.
Dictatorial tendencies in MDC, he knows them. Then on the other side he says he wants to work with the dictators. We are not dictators. We are actually
we work with people provided there is a framework that limits their powers.
The framework is there.
No, there is no framework. Your framework is the constitution to take the constitutional powers as opposed to limiting very clearly the powers that are abused.
Mr. Mangoma must study other alliances, and he must not go.
We have
talk
studied
when I'm
them.
talking.
Okay.
He must study other alliances elsewhere, how they've come about and how they are made. Because it's not enough just to talk about alliances. It's not a new thing. It has been done elsewhere, and it's dependent on your strength.
Well, talking about alliances, we actually had code that had been signed by members, and the framework is there. And therefore, to actually try to put in an alliance, we have got a coalition and they have got an alliance. The difference is a coalition, we are all working together. We will go to the election using one name, using one symbol, and not necessarily now say, I am the biggest, I will contest in that party and that party. And that allows us to field the most capable and popular candidate, as opposed to imposing candidates on the constituencies.
We are not imposing any candidates. You just didn't come on the table, Mangoma. Oh. If you still want, we are inviting you. Let's not argue.
Okay, we want to move this conversation. Conversation forward.
It's not about me.
I want to ask Engineer Mudzuri. The question I want to ask you is, when it comes to this issue of constitutionalism and positions and power and so forth within the party, we're going to go back. This is a question that had been asked from a listener who says, wasn't Okupe against the issue of acting president, that she was an elected president and you were not appointed? And then the follow-up question say, are you on the same level with her as you were appointed, but she was elected, and the party's constitution had to be amended to accommodate yourself and Chamisa?
The constitution was actually, it's very clear that in between congresses, our council can sit as Congress to determine certain parameters. And it was the national executive that requested President Tsvangirai to act and appoint vice presidents on its behalf. That was the executive and council. And once that was done, people went to court. It was determined that we are all vice presidents. And once you are more than one, our constitution says, in the absence of the president, the deputy president will act. Now there are 3 deputy presidents. Once you are more than one, it is the incumbent who appoints the person who acts. And Ms. Kupe has been asked to act before. It's just rotating. She has been acting before. So that is not the argument. Let's go into proper issues of elections, because the constitution is clear. It has gone to court and was done.
Okay, 0731-168-045. That's the number you could get in touch with us on. I'm going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, I want to talk more about these issues, particularly with preparedness for elections. There's some great questions coming in for all our guests in the studio tonight. Is ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town.
News, lifestyle, charts, live radio, station highlights, and much more. Get it all on zfmstereo.co.zw. It's ZiFM Stereo Talk.
Honorable Nduna, it is always a pleasure having you on ZiFM. Have we seen a corresponding reduction in carnage, in road accidents, since there seems to have been this escalation in the police presence on the roads?
At 5 deaths per day in Zimbabwe, we are far away from the global average of 3 deaths per day. So I would imagine with the type of infrastructure that we've got, we are just making it worse for the motoring public.
The talk that gets you talking. Mondays to Thursdays between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. To all you Twitter heads, connect with ZiFM Stereo on twitter.com/ZiFM Stereo /ZiFM Stereo.
The platform. Step up and speak up.
You're indeed still tuned into ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town. It's the platform. We're on until 9 o'clock today. And the news, of course, will be a little bit later than that because we have another program coming after that. But we are talking about the election environment in Zimbabwe. And in here in the studio today, we've got the acting president for the MDCT, Engineer Elias Mudzuri. And we've got the Coalition of Democrats leader, Elton Mangoma, and the Alliance for People's Agenda, President Dr. Nkosana Moyo. It's a fiery discussion in the studio, and I know we've been getting loads of messages coming in, and I want you to take part in the conversation. 0731-168-045 is the number to get in touch with us on WhatsApp, and our call-in number is 0772-168-045. Get in touch with us and ask the questions you want to ask. I'm going to come to you, Dr. Moyo, and I'm pretty sure you were sitting there and looking at what was going on. But I have questions for you. After Operation...
Larry, if I may you see, that conversation illustrated exactly why it's a bit futile not to let the electorate decide whether you need a coalition or not. Just don't deprive the population and the electors of that decision. Make them choose. These parties are clear about what they stand for. The electors can understand that. They'll choose, they might choose an outright winner, and if they don't, then a coalition is formed. Okay. And all of this bickering just goes away.
So I'm going to ask you a direct question. Like, after Operation Restore Legacy, you were quoted as saying that President Emerson Mnangagwa is a better leader than the former President Mugabe.
No, you're not misquoting me. I was asked, in fact, before. Mm-hmm. This question has been asked many times. I was asked whether I thought that he was not president at the time, whether VP Mnangagwa would run Zimbabwe differently or not. And I said, yes, he would run Zimbabwe differently. And I think that's true.
Okay, then there were murmurs before that. So do you mean, when you say differently, just to be clear, differently doesn't necessarily mean better to you?
No, it does not mean better, but differently like anybody else would. Because Emerson Mnangagwa is not Robert Mugabe, is he? So I answered the question quite precisely. Would he run this country differently? And the answer is yes, he would. And he will. And then but there were murmurs that you're saying that you were angling for a position in his cabinet. Was that true? No, but you see, what people are used to in terms of the politics of Zimbabwe is that we like to say bad things about other people. We as APA have been very clear. We are not in the business of making statements which are bad about other people, because that's not the substance of where this country needs to go. So if you ask me about President Morgan Tsvangirai, about President Elton Mangoma, these are good people in themselves, and I'm not going to go out of my way to say anything negative, and that is the position we take. But I want us to discuss substance in terms of what these parties stand for, what we believe in, what we believe should be done in our country. If you ask me about what was done wrong, but not about people, I will happily engage.
0731-168-045. I've got questions here that are coming in. Says, I think Mangoma, they are not good politicians. They just want to confuse people. That's Kennedy from Mutare. But someone else comes in and he says that, I'm looking for here, I had put a question down together, but while I put that together, I want to ask a question of Engineer Mudzuri here. The question that I want to ask is, has the issue of positions for elections, there's a question that was coming up, has the issues of where people are going to vote from, has that been, or not vote for, where they're going to stand, where they're going to be candidates among the different parties, has that now been resolved?
It's a work in progress. We have not finalized our list, and that's being discussed. That's why we're inviting others to say they've got space.
Okay, so what do you say of the recent reports that Obert Mgutu was planning to contest in a constituency reserved for alliance partner Tendai Biti?
He just tweeted and said he was working in that constituency. Doesn't mean he gets it. It doesn't mean he gets it. It doesn't mean it was reserved for Tendai and it will be reserved for Tendai. I don't think there is need to have splits here.
Okay, and then I've got just opening these messages that we have here, 0731 168045. Somebody says Mr. Mangoma and Engineer Mudzuri should be progressive in these discussions. Zimbabweans want a team that puts Zimbabwe first and not personalities. The contestation between the two is dysfunctional and dates back in time when they were united. Please let us put posterity first and have united opposition for real new dispensation. This is Chris Doda. Just opening a couple of other messages here. But while I do that, somebody's saying that to you. If say, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Mangoma, this question that many people ask. In as far as the alliances are concerned, on 2 July, you ruled out a coalition with Joyce Mudzuri, right? Saying she was part of a system which had worsened your disability. Says a certain publication quoted you as saying, "When I was arrested, I was thoroughly beaten up and my kneecap shattered, which forced me to undergo reconstructive surgery. If anyone increased my disability, it is ZANU-PF. You can also understand who the vice president was when I was beaten. How do we work together under such circumstances?" In reference to her. Now, if elected into office, won't you then be retributive in your approach to these issues, given what you're talking about?
Absolutely not. What you will find is that in CODE, we are actually working to make sure that any powers that the president has got currently, that has got anything to do with the freedoms of a president, of freedoms of people, must be taken away from that president. So I'm actually advocating for the powers that are attributive powers to actually be removed from the president, because I don't believe that where our country is, we need retribution, we need those powers. In fact, taking them away allows some of the institutions like the Judicial Service Commission, like the independent commissions, like the Anti-Corruption Commission, to actually be strengthened, whilst the president concentrates on making sure that the issues of the economy are addressed, the issues of health are addressed, the issues of education are addressed, and all the things that the people of Zimbabwe yearn for, so that they can become prosperous and happy and free. So this is where we stand. So anybody, and I say that the people who want to keep these powers with the president are the ones who are looking for retribution. As far as I am concerned, as far as CODE is concerned, we do not look at retribution, and in fact, we want people to work together. We want to build this nation where everybody feels is part and parcel of this great country.
0731 168045. I got a question here for Engineer Mudzuri. Someone says, convince me that there's any reason for me to vote for this alliance. The other question is do you mind giving power to Nelson Chamisa to take over if Tsvangirai decides to rest?
There is no one who gives anyone power. Power comes from the people, and the party has got its systems of electing a leader if that happens. And right now, there's no vacancy. We're not discussing a vacancy. So we don't need to discuss a vacancy. I'm not contesting Chamisa. Chamisa is not contesting me, no, Ms. Kube. But right now, there is no vacancy. So we don't need to debate that. What was the other question again?
And convince me to vote for you for the alliance.
Yes, you have to vote for this alliance because it is the best alternative. We want to deliver the political, social, and economic goods which ZANU-PF has failed to deliver for the past 37 years. We strongly believe that they might have taken our manifesto recently and announced it, but I don't think they are able to implement it. They've taken it, whatever they are delivering is coming from our 2018 manifesto.
Dr.
We want to deliver the hospitals, we want to deliver the schools, we want to deliver the economy, we want to deliver the political goods where everyone feels comfortable when they go to vote. We want to make sure that every citizen is accorded the right to be in the country. Where you find our people without birth certificates, and it takes them ages They have to pay to be a citizen of this country. All those things have to stop. And we have to decentralize registration of people who just need to be known that they are Zimbabweans. We have so much in stock, but the first delivery should be the economy and the political goods, which is making sure that everyone feels free to elect a leader they want.
Coming to you, Dr. Moyo, and much has been said about these different parties. When you look at your party, for example, first of all, I want to ask, what's your reaction to people who have labeled your party as being more of a briefcase party? That no one apart from yourself is known from the party. Does it have structures? What is the story behind your party?
You see, that's very interesting for me because I think we in this country have developed a habit of labeling things in terms of names and positions as opposed to what a party stands for and what is visible. A particular way of doing politics, the same kind of, shall I call it an accusation if you like. We've got a totally different strategy for our campaign because it's not compliant with what people know. They say, where is the campaign? Where are you? Especially the people who like social media, and yet we are out there in the country interacting with the people, but just not visibly. We've got a structure in our party. We are building a party which is actually getting quite strong. It's just not out there being displayed the way people are used to, but it's absolutely there, believe me.
Okay, so if it's not there and people are not seeing it, okay, in what way is it manifesting itself? Before I ask this question that I'm loading here, because it's something that is specifically for you.
Yeah, but which people are not seeing it? The people who are on social media who want to create the impression is not there. Who want some of the people actually, you know what is fascinating for me? We've been able to track some of them to see who is out there making this noise. And at the moment, our opposition is more from other opposition parties, not even from ZANU, which I find very interesting. So it's like opposition parties that were there before us claiming a space and saying there is no room for any other opposition party. Don't you dare come into this space, which is totally undemocratic. So we need also to be careful of what credence we give to statements which are made by individuals. They don't speak for the population. They are not the population. Yeah, there are lots of people out there we interact with. If you were to ask whoever asked that question, ask them whether they know where I've been in the last month, where exactly I've been and who I've interacted with, which areas of the rural Zimbabwe I've been to. They don't know. And because they don't know, they then go and make a general statement like that, i.e., we don't see you, where are you? But they've got no clue who I'm interacting with. Just because I haven't seen them or they want to paint a picture, they make these claims.
Okay, I'm going to read two messages that are directed to you. It says, this is for Dr. Nkosana. I'm an admirer of your principles and professionalism. In my books, you are the best candidate on the voters' slip so far. I'm not sure you will win, but you have my vote. Zimbabwe needs to be run like a company with checks and balances. My question, Dr. Moyo, is if elected and installed as president, what should you do in your first 100 days? That's Sean Mazwandile. And then I've got another one that says, does Moyo genuinely think he can win elections? Is he? This is just another Simba Malkoni is in there to confuse the electorates. We want one united front led by MDCT to dislodge ZANU-PF. MDCT because they have been proven are there because they have proven records. What's your response to that?
Well, I think taking the last comment first, the gentleman or lady who is making that comment clearly is a supporter of MDCT, and that's their prerogative to be a supporter. I just wish that our population and the supporters of different parties really begin to exercise their minds on what democracy means. You know, there is a danger here that we do exactly what we did in 1980. We say we are removing a party that is not democratic enough, and yet we do an animal farm on our population and we just replace and do exactly the same things. In a democracy, there is nothing to stop other parties contesting and becoming opposition members. What people are advocating about crush everybody into one is totally undemocratic. So if I may make that observation. The 100 days issue is a fascinating one. Yesterday or day before, I was on Capitalk and I was asked about Davos, and my response was, and it's relevant to this question, my response was the following. Davos is an important platform at the right time. If you understand where Zimbabwe has gone wrong, where this country has gone broken, then you organize your program to respond to that. Our problem in Zimbabwe is not external. We broke our own country. We broke our own country primarily through two practices. The first one is corruption. Corruption, pervasive corruption. The second one, which is closely allied to corruption, is giving wrong people the jobs that they don't deserve and are not capable of executing. The two are related: nepotism, patronage, cronyism, and corruption. For me, the first 100 days would be absolutely focused on making sure that we create a platform where we create credibility for ourselves before we go engaging with anybody else who come into our space. And those are things we need to address rigorously and ruthlessly. That's what I would do.
Got a very interesting question here for engineer from this is Tafadzwa who is in Shurugi, who says, and this is to Engineer Mudzuri, he says, in case Mr. Tsvangirai resigns, Engineer Mudzuri, is there anyone in the MDC party that has the potential of pulling the crowds that Mr. Tsvangirai has been known for, or will it be the death of MDC? Does anyone have that brand power that you talked about earlier on, that he is the brand and the face of the party?
He is the brand, and he is the father of the founding father of MDCT, and time will tell. As I said, people will find another leader. There's no leader who when he goes, you cannot replace him. But right now I'm saying there is no vacancy. If we start debating that, we are getting into the wrong premise and confusing people. But I want to say, the population can look at MDCT and look at others and say, can we have a leader from this team? And the team, the whole country can select a leader. We don't need to go into health issues. I've just indicated to you that Roy Bennett, one of our founding members, had an accident. He was healthy. So we can't continuously dig into someone's cell that is he there, is he not there. We believe that if in the unlikely event that our face of the party is a problem, there are enough people. They have all the brains, they are educated, they can display their capacity, and we have policies. We are not just there to find a leader, but this is the face.
I want to ask this, because the reality of the matter is the average person who's asking this question. Whereas you mentioned the unfortunate passing away of Roy Bennett, and may his soul rest in peace. But in all fairness, there were no concerns, there were growing concerns over his health at that time. So do you say that people are misdirecting their concerns? They're saying, okay, we understand he's unwell. And someone I'm going to pull up the message shortly, who said, wouldn't it be better for him to concentrate on his health? Because this is based from a place of concern, not from malice. Loads of people asking specific questions. If they're having concerns that are around him being well.
We are equally all concerned, and we want to pray for his health. But I'm also responding that leaders will come. Wakuru vanoti hakuna zuva rinobuda rimwe risati ranyura, and that is what we are saying. People, MDCT has declared their candidate, and the Alliance has declared him as the candidate. Until and unless he tells us of a condition that stops him from being a candidate, we cannot debate that. But the replacement will still come from the people of Zimbabwe and the structures. The constitution is clear on the replacement aspect. So we want to welcome those suggestions to say what happens. But if we over-debate this, we can confuse the population in the same manner.
0731-168-045, that's our WhatsApp number, and the call line is open on 0772-168-045. We're taking another break right now, our final break, and we come back. I've got loads of questions coming in for all our guests in the studio. ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town.
To all you Twitter heads, connect with ZiFM Stereo on twitter.com/ZiFM Stereo /ZiFM Stereo. It's ZiFM Stereo Talk.
Honorable Esau Mupfumi, we're always moaning about the state of our roads.
The reason why the government decided to take over the collection of license fees, Our councils mostly they are corrupt. I'm sorry to say that. And that money meant for road repairs was being channeled towards payment of salaries and other things.
The talk that gets you talking. Mondays to Thursdays between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. News, lifestyle, charts, live radio, station highlights, and much more. Get it all on zfmstereo.co.zw.
Step up and speak up.
It is still indeed ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town. The name is Larry Kwirirayi. Now in the last 13 minutes of the show, I'm just checking the phones here. It looks like we've got a phone call coming in now on 0772-168-045. I'm going to just bring this in. ZiFM Stereo, you're live on air. What's your contribution? Where you're calling from and what's your name?
Thank you. My name is Bepas. I'm calling from Chitungwiza. I would want to ask the gentleman here in the studio, Mr. Mudzuri, one question or a few.
Please go ahead.
Can you tell me why do you believe in violence? Anyway, for say. Once Mangoma said Sangrai must resign because he failed to attain power, he was beaten. Secondly, E.T. was fired to support Mangoma's letter. Thirdly, Kupe was beaten when he failed to attend the Alliance launch in protest against it, and the way Morgan used to beat constituents, I don't know. How do they take BT in the Alliance? Because BT one said Sangrai is a failed leader, and later he made a U-turn. And I have another question for Mr. Nkosana there. How can I believe you say, I don't know you? Once you said something in a hotel in Bulawayo in support of this failed Mnangagwa. And also for you, Mr. Mangoma, we haven't seen anything in the ground about court. We believe in your principles somehow. We have a few trust in you. But anyway, can you convince me how can I vote for you and any other person? Thank you for entertaining me, but please, I want to understand how are they going to put their house in order in the MDC case. Now there are 3 VPs. Sangrai once said it's expensive to run a cabinet with 2 vice presidents in reference with Mujuru and Musika from ZANU-PF. Now he has 3. How does they justify that? It's now expensive in its one because he wants to have...
Okay, let me give them a chance to respond to the question so we can get some other questions, callers in. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'm going to start off, of course, with the burning question for Engineer Mudzuri, talking about the violence.
Yeah, I don't think it's MDC which was violent. Mr. Mangoma was the deputy treasurer of the party, and he knows that individuals misbehaved and they were taken to task, and some of them were arrested. And it's not MDC. It's like you find individuals who might go out of the way. It's not MDCT. MDCT is the most peaceful organization.
Okay, the question that the person asked, they cited incidents of violence within the MDC against other members of MDC and people who were in senior positions who were beaten up as recently as last year. So somebody's saying, how do you convince me that you're not a party of violence? Now you say you're not. What's the story?
I'm responding to say these were individuals who can just misbehave within an organization, and that happens. So it happens everywhere that individuals who behave like that, they've been punished.
Okay, well, Mr. Mangoma, you made reference to when you were saying, just to give him...
I totally disagree with him. And I think I wrote a letter to President Tsvangirai in January 2014. And in it, before I was beaten, I actually referred to the issues that needed us to take a new direction. That's why we started talking about renewal and a new narrative. And one of the questions I raised in that was, we have got to stop this violent nature that is in the party. It's written in my letter. It's there. It's filed in archives, where me as a senior person knew that there was violence in the MDC. And it then was manifested on myself. It had been manifested on others before me. And then it has been manifested on others after me. So it's really, that is what proves that there is violence in the party. But so that's what it is. The gentleman asked, they are not seeing us. And certainly I think that we are making the efforts. We are dealing with our structures at this stage. And we are going into the next phase. Again, not of wanting to put huge rallies. That's not our style. Our style is going to be meetings where there is interaction, so that we don't go to a rally where the leaders just tell people what they are saying, and some clap, some go, and that there is no questioning. We want to allow our structures, our members, the opportunity to be able to understand exactly what we stand for, so that they can convince others as well. This show of strength, this is clearly not the time for it. But we definitely are there on the ground. We are everywhere. We are going to field 210 parliamentary candidates, constituency parliamentary candidates, and 1,958 councillors and a president.
Okay, question for you, Dr. Moyo.
Yes, again, the question about... no, I mean, he was not specific, but I know the question is about my comments on President Mnangagwa. And as I've explained earlier on, our attitude in APA is that we are not engaged in the politics of denigrating other people. That is not the politics we want to engage in. So if you ask me about an individual, I'll give you an answer which is about that person in the best light that I know them to be, and I'll be as precise as possible to the question asked. And that's how I answer the question about President Mnangagwa.
But the question was continue. Like, I don't know you. That person says, I don't know you. That question coming up again. What are you doing? I guess the question is, what are you doing for that person to get to know you? Somebody's saying here on air, saying that we don't see you on the ground. That's the question that's coming up.
But again, my issue is clearly that it's not going to be possible for me to meet individually 14 million Zimbabweans. It's just not going to happen. So,
but then the argument can be made that Mr. Mangoma here has not met everyone.
Yes,
somebody can say Mr. Mnangagwa has not met everybody, but somebody's saying that, and you mentioned the social media people before and say these people are just talking, but they are voters too. How are you reaching out to them?
I hear you. I agree. But remember that APA only started in July. So it's a very new party, and we're going to do everything between then and until the elections come to meet with as many people as we can, but within the physical possibility.
Okay, 0731-168-045, and I'm checking on 0772-168-045. There's a call that we have coming in right now. You're live on ZiFM Stereo. What's your name, where you're calling from, and what's your contribution?
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Where are you calling from, and what's your contribution? Can you do it as quickly as possible, because I want to get some more calls in.
I'm calling from Dare. The name, my contribution, kuna Mr. Mudzuri. Mudzuri, we are here, we are waiting for you. Please, go ahead, start campaigning now. Our votes are waiting for you. Mr. Mangoma, please, stop being arrogant. Just go and join your former workmate. Muzveguti munazi Mangoma watu apara pamunoenda. And Mr. Moyo, you are wasting your time. Hakuna munhu arikuziya ikunokwamutara nakana kuratambo kuna kana padiki pese usikatiri murodi kana muri murumita individuals ndewapaswa warumusana now. Wait and see, come election you get nothing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. 0772-168-045. On a sneak, one more call in. We've got 4 more minutes before we finish. But yeah, question from Engineer Mudzuri. Do MDC hold primaries in their already won seats for 5 years, or do they just go do them in constituencies where they lost seats? If they don't do the above, the MDC is just a bunch of power-hungry zealots. The question for you.
MDC is a democratic party. We do primaries wherever we can, but we do some consensus in certain areas, and we always are guided by the local people in selecting our candidates.
Okay, so I'm going to give each of you a minute. Okay, I'm going to start first of all, because in fact we haven't heard from you in a while. When we look at 2018 in as far as this elections, why do you think that you will win the election this year?
I think that APA will win the election this year because I think Zimbabweans are very clear about where our country is and what needs to be done. And they will look at the candidates who present themselves and look at what is required in terms of skills and experience, and look at the track record of the leaders of these parties to see who is best suited to help us solve the problems that confront our nation. And we in APA believe that we've got the people, led by myself, where the track record is absolutely very clear about the values and the competencies that we possess that are required to solve the problems of the country.
Same question for you.
Thank you. CORD is going to win this election because, again, in terms of the spread, we have got some of the most prominent people. We have got in CORD. We have got like President Dumiso Dabengwa, a veteran and leader of ZAPU, Dr. Simba Makoni, one of the astute people in there. We have got people representing the diaspora. We have got women leaders. So we are the most balanced of all the coalitions that are there. But also, we understand what has gone wrong with this country. And we have got the people and capacity that will be able to do it. We have got a track record of having acted selflessly for the benefit of the majority of the people. We are the only coalition and grouping of people who are straightforward, who can tackle corruption and deal with it, which is one of the largest cancers. And we have got to look at the track record of everyone, because fortunately all of us who are here have been in government, have been public figures for a long time. So let them be scrutinized for what they have done in the past, because that will determine what they are going to do in the future.
And then for Engineer Mudzuri, but just to preface something that you say, but the same question, given you say that President Mnangagwa has stolen your manifesto, as you say, and if the message seems to be resonating with the masses, why do you think, therefore, you will win this election?
Internationally, there's very thin difference in competition for power, because you have to improve on what has been done. If President Mnangagwa can improve what they failed to do in 37 years, which I don't think they can, then we have an advantage, because this is what we can do best. As President Nkosana has said, proven track record is clear in MDCT that it's there. And we are the most organized party right now. We don't need the army to organize us. We are well organized, and we will win this election because people understand what we stand for as a party. And they know that in 2008, 2009, we delivered during the inclusive government. Everything came from MDCT. And once the ZANU-PF came to power, which includes the present incumbent, President Mnangagwa, who was beaten by Blessing Chebundu, MDC2 member in Kwekwe, we believe that we is a weaker candidate and we will win this election because we have the manifesto. We have what the people want, and we are prepared to deliver with all the social safety nets that cover the downtrodden and also allow business to operate in the best way possible with the best practice in the world.
MDC Acting President Engineer Elias Mudzuri, thank you very much for coming in. And also here present we have the Coalition of Democrats leader Elton Mangoma, and well as the Alliance for People's Agenda President Dr. Nkosana Moyo. Thank you all gentlemen for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As that's that for this week's episode of The Platform. I'm back with you on Monday between 7:30 and 8:30. Other than that, take care of yourself and the people that you love. My name is Larry Kwirirayi. I leave you rather in the capable hands of Perfect Lolando, who's going to be here until you want to tell me what it's about? Yes, that's what I was trying to get you to the microphone to do. What are we talking about?
Human rights.
human rights.
Yeah.
That's about it. Okay, so he's on for the next 30 minutes. So I'll be back with you, as I said, next week, Monday. It's ZiFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hardest radio in town. My name is Larry Kwirirayi, as I say, and as I say, from where I come from, Asilwi Sebenza. Take care of yourself.